Hey, this is your girl Goldie. You're tuned into The Coffee Break on TAN TV, the African American network, where we have a local feel with a global reach. So, Councilman, thank you for coming on The Coffee Break today with me.
Absolutely. I'm so excited.
Yeah.
I'm a fan.
Oh, I'm a fan of yours. No, like it was an honor just researching you, looking at all the things that you're doing in the community. Councilman, and you're so young. I mean, you know, I guess maybe.
I'm actually 67. They don't believe.
But you just look good. Amazing. It's the skincare. So yeah, you are originally from where?
So I'm a military brat. I was born in Knoxville, Tennessee. Moved all over the place. I went to high school in Hawaii, and then my senior year moved to Fort Knox, Kentucky, and immediately got away from there and moved to San Antonio. So I've been here for the past immediately.
Right.
So I've been here for the past 10 years.
Okay. Did you ever spend any time in North Carolina? Because that's where I'm from.
No, I've never been to North Carolina. One day though.
I mean, it's beautiful, but nothing much to do. So yeah,
I don't believe that.
We have to get out. We have to go other places. So anyway, you just have such an amazing story. You got into politics. What made you want to get into politics?
So I actually never wanted to get into politics. I wanted to avoid it at all costs. No, I'm kidding. So in 2016, Trump was elected, and it was a terrible day for me. I was not happy with the results of that election, and I wanted to make a difference. And I thought about everybody who was representing me in government and realized there's really a whole lot of white middle-aged men who are wealthy, who are making decisions that they're never going to feel the impacts of. And I believe that we need more working class, regular people in office. And so how I got started was volunteering for other people, interning, eventually working for other candidates for office. And eventually I stepped away, and I was encouraged by a number of organizations that I was working with and people who were on the ground building movements, and they felt like I would be a part of that, and they wanted me to run for office, and I said no several times. I was like, no, I'm not.
And then they just pushed you out there.
They did, but it ended up working out, and I get to be a voice. And sometimes we expect others. We say, oh, I want you to be my voice when you get up there, and we can be our own voices. And I think that this is a testament to that.
So, and you know, I've watched a lot of your videos on Instagram, the gram, and you are a force to be reckoned with.
Thank you.
Do not play at all in those meetings. Like, no. And I love the way it's like you're not there by yourself. You always talk about your constituents.
Absolutely.
Like, you know, that's one of those words we like, wait a minute. But it's like the way you say it, we know you talking about your people.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, that you represent. And so, but that's amazing, because like they can feel like, yeah, there's definitely somebody there that's on our team that's really fighting for our rights. So what do you feel like some of the more important things to your constituents at this point?
Absolutely. So I think that often we lump our city leaders with the city itself. And when I was running for office, it was very clear my constituents, my neighbors, have a lot to be angry about. We've been underinvested in for a number of years. We've been over-policed. And we don't have the same access to amenities, to resources, to food, to healthcare that other parts of the city do have. And so I make it clear that I'm not standing with the city. I'm challenging the city, even though I'm now a part of this structure.
But Councilman, why are we still having these issues? You know what I mean? Like, it's so wild to me that the things you're talking about are like things we were talking about in the 60s.
I'm saying.
Like, why? I mean, it's 2022. Like, why are we still talking about like certain neighborhoods or certain people not getting the resources and the money allocated to what they need? Like,
absolutely. And I think it's because the systems and the powers that be really don't like being challenged, and they don't like when newbies come in and want to challenge and change things. And so the way things have historically been done in the past is equal shares of the pie. But when there's parts of the city that have historically gotten more than, we're never going to catch up if everything's equal. But the idea of equity has become political, and it shouldn't be. It should be clear that if there's been groups that have been historically marginalized or disinvested in or underinvested in, they should be getting more of the pie.
Right.
But then that makes other people who are often the ones in power angry.
So, and you look, and what you're talking about makes so much sense. And you don't have to be a math teacher for that to make sense. That makes perfect sense to
Absolutely
me. I know you're a former math teacher for high school, but it's just like that just makes so much sense. And I just don't get why we still are always fighting for the same things. But Absolutely. I mean, I'm so like happy that we have you. As in, I don't live in San Antonio, but the people of San Antonio.
We might get you out here one day.
I don't know about that, honey. I'm in Dallas, and I'm loving it. But it's just important to have like younger voices and people of color, right?
Absolutely.
And you're a member of the LGBTQ community.
Yes, ma'am.
So, okay, and I know like some of the newscasts when they were talking about you running and they always highlighted the fact that you were an openly gay man.
Absolutely.
Did you think that was important for them to do that?
I think it's important for people to know the LGBTQ community is a group that is underrepresented in every sense except for homelessness.
Wow. Okay.
But whenever there's someone who is out and proud, I think it's important for young people specifically to see that, that it's okay to be themselves. You don't have to blend into this mold of what respectability politics is, where you have to look a certain type of way, you have to talk, act, be a certain person. And so for younger people, especially members of the LGBTQ community and specifically Black young men, to see somebody who looks like me, who isn't fitting into the mold, that's important for them. And that brings me joy when you don't expect a high schooler to be keeping up with who their city council person is.
Exactly.
But I get stopped by young people all the time who are like, I see you in the news and I think you're my councilman. And
wow.
And that just means so much to me. So I think it's important. I think it's important for Black people to have representation, for Black, brown, Asian, religious minorities, LGBTQ community, disabled people. I think there's a lot of people who are underrepresented, and I don't think we've even scratched the surface of that.
Not at all. Because just watching it, I'm thinking like, well, what does his sexual orientation have to do with him running for office? Like he should just, that shouldn't even. But like you said, it's so important because you're a representative of a certain population that needs to see that.
Absolutely. Visibility is key. Visibility is key.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so now let me ask this because celebrities love you. So like, no, real talk. You have like endorsements from like some of the biggest stars in the world, like Taraji P. Henson, Nicki Minaj.
I'm a Barb, y'all.
How did you get an endorsement from Nicki Minaj?
You know what I think's interesting is that like I said earlier, people don't really pay attention to city council, but we've gotten so many new eyes on the east side of San Antonio and on San Antonio as a whole because of the things that I'm fighting for that are more popular than our elected officials would have us believe. Taraji P. Henson originally noticed I was speaking about police accountability. We were talking about the police budget, and it's overinflated, and it resonated with her, and so she shared a clip, and it got a few millions of views.
Just a few, just one or two, just a couple.
And then Nicki Minaj. It was actually originally like a joke. I told somebody I was gonna do this, and I wished her happy birthday from the dais, and she saw it, and she had seen some of my platform and whatnot, and she shared, and she said, "Hey, Barbs, if I need y'all to move to San Antonio, and I need you to make sure that this man stays elected forever." And it meant so much to me to be recognized by people that I love. It's crazy. It's crazy.
And it's got to be just a great feeling to know that like globally people are paying attention.
It's affirming. And like I mentioned, I think it's what it means to my constituents is that there's new eyes on the east side. And when I say something, I now have an elevated voice. I'm one of the more of local officials in the country. I'm one of the more high profile ones now, and that's a big deal for the east side. My voice weighs a little bit more now because of this recognition. Yeah,
because you don't play. Like I have watched you talk to people in these meetings. I don't know what the actual term is. Yeah, the council sessions, and you are like, no, this, that. I'm like, oh, okay. I would vote for you if I could, but I live in Dallas. So, but no, it's just like it's so refreshing. It kind of gives me, and maybe I'm speaking something into existence, but it kind of gives me that vibe of when I first saw Obama.
Oh my gosh, that's great. Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
It gives me that kind of feeling, So hey, is that something that you would be interested in running for president one day?
Ooh, that's a lot. I think the biggest thing for me, and this has been my commitment, is I haven't had an interest in politics, right? But my district is one that has seen heavy turnover. I'm going to be in this seat for as long as my constituents will have me. I'm not going to seek any higher office. And if they decide after 8 years is up that they want me to do something else, I'll consider it. But that's not in the cards right now. I do miss education, and that's what my background is in.
So what are some of your other interests besides politics?
Ooh, so I am an artist. I paint murals. I love graphic design and digital media. My first degree was actually in communication, and so that's what I do to kind of alleviate my stress is arts. I also have I like social media, and before I was doing this, I was on TikTok and was making videos and songs and stuff. It was fun.
Okay.
All for the students though.
Right. Yeah. No, but that's engaging. Like, I mean, just like with politics, we're tired of the same old same. You got to look a certain way, you got to act a certain way. And so
Absolutely.
I think with education, it's like even more important because you're dealing with children every day. Kids need to be stimulated.
Absolutely.
Kids love music. They love, exciting things. And so I feel like you definitely were bringing that to the classroom.
They love absurdity. They love when you do something that's unexpected and weird. And so I think too often, especially because I was teaching math, most people have their degree in math and they're not as outgoing, or maybe the communication skills aren't all the way.
Yeah. No. I have an uncle who was a math teacher major. He's so weird. He's so weird. He doesn't have those type of social skills, but ask him an equation and he definitely can tell you. So that's great to see somebody. You're well rounded.
Thank you. I think a lot of personality is missing from education. Because kids love to see if you're not showing up as your authentic self, the kids read through that. And I think that transfers into the role that I'm in now, where I have to be myself or else it's phony and it's not me. And my constituents will see through that. And they expect me to be a fiery voice on council. And that's what I got here for. I didn't come here to play the nice games. And I came here to get tangible wins for my community.
Right. So, okay, now this is my thing too, because I've worked with kids before. I've worked in schools. As a teacher in a high school, because that's something a lot of people are scared. They're literally afraid to do that.
I ain't never scared.
You know what I'm saying? They're scared to work with kids. So how was, let's just say you had a troubled youth that was, popping off or whatever. How would you deal with that?
I think so I taught at Sam Houston High School on the east side, which is largely, so Title I schools are the most disadvantaged, and we had about 99% of students qualified for free or reduced lunch, about 90% qualified for free lunch. So it was
a rough school?
It's rough, but some of the sweetest kids, and they're kids with so much talent and motivation. And I think what was different, I was 23 when I started teaching, and my oldest student was 19. So I'm not going to walk into the classroom and be this authority figure who commands respect immediately, but I am going to show respect and in turn receive it. And I think the way that I would come about it is, as a big brother, it's, y'all get in trouble, I'm going to get in trouble too. So let's get through this year together.
We look out for each other.
Let's learn. I'll learn from y'all learn from me. And I think that that really motivated my students. So I really didn't have too many I didn't have those challenges. So
those disciplinary issues that teachers are scared that
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So I noticed that you were doing some work with Martin Luther King Jr.'s family. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So it wasn't necessarily with the family, but I am the honorary chair of the San Antonio's MLK March, which is the largest MLK March in the nation, therefore in the world. And
exactly,
this past year, they've basically made the ask and made the request that any MLK marches are not parades, they're not celebrations, they are calls for voting rights.
Okay.
And challenges to restrictive voting legislation. And in Texas, we have some of the worst of those. And so we've switched gears to align with that request, to make it about voting rights, and to make it about access, and making it about amplifying the voices of Black and brown communities.
Okay. And how has the community kind of responded to that?
They're with it. We're a district and therefore a city of working class people who are used to fighting for civil rights, who are used to challenging the system, and who are used to combating the things that are happening at the Texas state legislature. And so it was right on brand for us.
Right. Because some of the things that I've heard, like when they say, voter fraud, like, I feel like they make that such a big deal when really it's not a thing.
It's not.
But they just, that's something that they kind of use that as an excuse to like let certain people not vote because they don't have IDs or they don't have this or that. And it's just like, but it still feels like you're trying to, suppress the black and brown vote. So, wow. So what's coming for you? What's in the future for you?
So right now we are in budget season. And as a math teacher, like this is my favorite time of year for the city. This is where we get
numbers. Not a numbers person.
This is where we get our wins. No, but as we were talking about equity, we're making huge shifts in the way that the city operates, like systemic changes. And so how we were talking about how they used to do 10%, if there's 10 districts, every district would get 10% of infrastructure funding. In 2017, they implemented an equity lens that wasn't quite as equitable as it should be. Okay. So we were getting maybe 11% of infrastructure funding. And this year I advocated for an even bigger shift in equity funding. And so we're getting about 13%, which 13% sounds little, but it's a difference of millions and millions of dollars of street improvements, street lighting, drainage. It's going to be the next 5 years, we're getting $350 million of investment at least in my district, which is more than we've gotten in the past 10 years.
Wow.
So this is going to be a crazy next 5 years for us. And
so when the city gives that type of money, like who does that money go to? You know what I mean? Like who gets to delegate and spend the money?
Absolutely. So a part of it is through our bond program. So some of our facilities like the Ella Austin Community Center, which is one of our historic buildings, one of the most beautiful buildings in the city, is getting completely renovated. Okay. Our Eastside Boys and Girls Club, many of our parks, we're getting F Street funding, so you see complete reconstructions of roads. Okay. Our parks, there's going to be money that the city spends basically through our departments and through delegate agencies that are going to repair our infrastructure. It's going to be amazing.
Right, because I noticed you talked a lot about like with the flooding and there's not like enough drainage especially on the east side.
Absolutely.
So like how many families, like how many people are we talking who were affected by the flooding?
Ooh. That's a harder question to answer, and I don't want to lie to you about numbers. But I will say this is that we have the highest number of F streets in the city, which are the failing streets. So roads that you drive on and you're going to damage your car driving on them, and people are living on 77 miles of these roads, which is about 1/5 of the entire city's failing streets are in my district. And we're going to get a good amount of them over the course of the next few years. We're shifting our focus to address them. We're not going to be able to get them all done in 5 years, right? But we're going to be seeing with these reconstructions, there's going to be sidewalks, there's going to be drainage, there's going to be increased access from one street to a park to an amenity. It's going to change the game for connectivity in our district.
So and that's important too, because I think those are some of the things that get missed. Like people always focus on like presidential elections.
Absolutely.
Don't worry about the smaller ones, but those are the ones that create change.
Yes, and the things that happen at your local government are the things that impact you the most directly, like the streets you ride on every day, like the stray animals that you see, like your access to grocery stores. That's your access to public transit. That's something that local governments control. And this year I filed a record number of council consideration requests, which are basically policy proposals that I authored that were co-signed by 4 of my council colleagues. Okay. And they have to do with food access, they have to do with animal care, and increasing the spay neuters that are happening. Expansion to the non-discrimination ordinance, payday loan ordinance, a whole diverse array of issues that impact us, and those are going to be some of the things that I look forward to over the next few months coming to a resolution.
Okay, awesome. Let me just say, I just love your hair.
Thank you. It's pink.
I love your hair, and like because I've seen the red and the bun, and just I feel like you're just fearless. Like you're fearless, and when you go into those meetings, those council meetings, you just like look. Now I'm not here to play with you today. Let's talk about some issues, and you gonna see my hair looking good.
I've never said that.
But it just comes off like that when I see it. So amazing. It's giving me Prince. It's giving me Prince vibes.
That's actually one of my I love Prince, and I do try to emulate him in subtle ways.
Right. Well, thank you so much for coming on today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
You are amazing. Thank you for your work. Thank you for what you do in the community. Like, we really do stand behind you, and we really appreciate you advocating for your constituents.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so thank you.
And you are hilarious. I'm a big fan. I'm so surprised.
You didn't even know. You were talking to Goldie.
I did not.
Right. You're like, who is this woman looking like Goldie, sounding like Goldie?
I did say that.
It's me.